Welcome back, everybody, to a very special From Screen to Shelf review. I am Chase, aka Wallet Bully Extraordinaire, aka Sonic Fan Extraordinaire. I have been eagerly anticipating the release of the Knuckles TV. It's not really a series; it's more of a like mini special event. So it's a 6-part mini series that, like, just to put it bluntly and just really give some quick thoughts on it, it was really good. A lot of reviews, a lot of like the critics are coming out giving it pretty solid reviews. I personally haven't seen any negative reviews, but I didn't really go out of my way to find those, just the ones that kind of populated on social media and based on word of mouth. On Letterboxd, it seems like it's getting a little bit of hit or miss reviews, but I am just here to give you my thoughts, not anybody else's. So for the Knuckles TV series, and I always got to preface this for the way that I grade things, right? I approach things a little bit differently than other people typically do whenever it comes to how they grade things. You'll see some people, hey, I want this, I want that. It didn't do it. I'm not the director, I'm not the writer, I'm not the producer, and I'm not the actor in the series. So it's not my place to want certain things. I can only digest what is given to me. So that is how I grade things, and that's how I'm approaching this show. For what it gives me and everything that's in there, it is really, really good. Loved it and I had a great time with it. And again, I'm a mega Sonic fan. So again, take these as like a little bit of bias. I usually try to leave my bias aside, but I can't help it when it comes to Sonic. I even threw this little like sweater on just to show my excitement. So whenever it comes to the Knuckles show, it is very split between Knuckles and Wade, who was one of the police officers in Green Hill from the first two Sonic movies. So you follow them in their dynamic. Knuckles needs to go and he needs that warrior in him to kind of come out. You know, he's on Earth and he can't really, since the ending of the second Sonic movie, he can't really get that out of his system. So he goes to find Wade because he thinks he has the heart of a warrior and the courage of a warrior, and he takes him under his wing to kind of train him. And of course, it gets goofy. It had a lot of funny moments. I had a great time with it. And so it's really Knuckles kind of adjusting to Earth, and then it's a lot of Wade trying to just compete in this bowling tournament, and it just hijinks entails, right? For 6 episodes, I feel like for the most part, both of the Sonic movies all have one part that I would personally cut out of them. Sonic 2 would be the wedding scene. Sonic 1 is a little bit of just not really world building, but just some of the more cliche parts I'd probably cut out of those movies, which is totaling like less than 5 minutes out of each one. But they're there for a reason. Again, I'm here to grade for what's given to me. This one, right around episode 3, around the halfway mark, it just hits a little bit of a stunt, but not anything too crazy. So I'm not going to dock points for it just because I didn't like that. Mostly because it still works, especially it's really tight in every other department. Kid Cudi is one of the main antagonists in this, of all things. I'm a huge fan of Kid Cudi's music, so I like whenever I see him making acting appearances. He's one of my favorite horror movies of the last 10 years, and that's X. And I think he killed his role. And just like this, he did a great job with what was given. So it's very, very cool. Now, towards the last half, it really does focus a lot more on Wade. I do think that the show probably should have been called Knuckles and Wade, but it's not like they hid what it's about. They really pushed it. It's in the marketing, everything like that. You do get some awesome Knuckles moments, and the production value is very similar to one of the Sonic movies. They didn't pull any punches. They put this out there, everything like that. Even if you haven't seen the first two Sonic movies and you're just curious because you're a bigger fan of Knuckles, you can still have a great time with this. Idris Elba's character voice acting that's lent to Knuckles really brings him to life in a different way, and I really, really appreciate what he brings to the character. He does an absolutely killer job whenever it comes to portraying Knuckles and giving him life through his voice. I really can't imagine anybody else playing Knuckles, especially after finishing this and with the screen time that he had in Sonic 2. I just think he was the perfect casting choice. They've really killed it with all the casting so far in all the Sonic movies and especially in the TV series. Now, there is just really one thing. I already forget her name and I just finished it. It's literally, we came down here to record as I finished it. The biggest thing that I can say that I really didn't like is, you get introduced to Wade's family dynamic, and he has this sister that's like this fake quote unquote FBI agent, or at least acts like it. And she's just really annoying. Like, she's got some funny parts, even some parts that actually made me not just blow air out of my nose, but actually made me laugh. I just really found her pretty insufferable, but she's not in it too much. But when she is, it's just, God, get off the screen, And it's not because of the actress or anything. It's just the way that she's written. His mom does well, his dad does well, everybody else does well, his best friend does well. Everybody else really killed the role. So yeah, the last half of the series really it does focus a lot on Wade, which I'm fine with. I like his character a lot. I think the Sonic movies and especially the Knuckles TV series or miniseries has really done a good job of balancing the human characters with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles and everybody. And it's not like I really don't have any disdain for any character that's appeared in any of these other than, again, I don't really care for his sister, Wade's sister. But it really does carry itself differently. It finds its own unique identity, and it really handles a lot of what's given extremely well. So the production value, everything, if you're trying to get like a little kind of bridge between Sonic 2 and then what's essentially Sonic Adventure 2, the movie coming out this December for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 with Shadow, it's really gonna really probably hold you over extremely well, especially if you don't just rip through it the second that it airs like I did. I couldn't contain it. It's one of my most anticipated things of this year was this show coming out. So I had a really good time. Now, the one thing I will preface, and I think I started touching on it, I may or may not have, but this isn't I don't feel like this is going to be necessary for Sonic 3. And even if you haven't seen Sonic 1 and 2 and you're just a fan of Knuckles, you can dive right into this. You really aren't going to have a lot of spoilers. Some character development, you might not necessarily care for some of the characters that are there and stuff or have that bond with them that they've built over the last few years with Sonic 1 and 2, but this is pretty standalone and that's cool. It's a very nice barrier of entry, and it's also gives you a really nice insight if you are taking your first foray and jump into this Jeff Fowler Sonic universe. It really does. It really is just Sonic 1 and 2, but with just Knuckles. It's written the same way, same comedy, same family friendly approach. That little bit of edginess to it that really caters to all ages and all audiences, adults included. It's there. Everything's there. I think everybody will have a great time. I think you'll find it okay at worst. The only thing that really, um, again, it's not gonna take away from my score, but the only thing I would say that I kinda desired a little bit more of was I wish the stakes were higher and it did bridge. Personally, I wanted something to go into Sonic 3 looking forward to outside of what was teased at the end of Sonic 2, right? That's just a little bit of a desire, but again, I think they made the best decision with the barrier of entry being literally non-existent. You can just jump into Knuckles and then go see Sonic 1 and 2 if you haven't already. So I respect their decision and what they've done. And again, that doesn't affect the overall rating that I'm going to give it. So overall, I really will. I feel obligated to. It's really well done. Everything. I can't really say anything good, any more good things, and I don't really have anything negative. It was really well done. I'm going to walk away giving it an 8.5. I really do hope that we get a physical release of this. Paramount has done a really good job of doing that. They released Halo. They have a really good habit of releasing these Paramount Plus based Star Trek series as well, such as like Lower Decks, Discovery, and then what's that one? Picard. So those might air on TV, but I always see them on Paramount Plus. So they have a really good habit of releasing those on physical media. Halo did get a 4K. It wasn't in 4K whenever I watched it, but even if I get a Blu-ray little steelbook, I'm cool with that just to sit right next to my Sonic 1 and 2. So I'm going to be over the moon for that, but an 8.5 out of 10 feels right on par. I was originally going to stick with the 9, but his sister really did dock some points for me because when she was on screen, it really just made it insufferable. And I mean, it's not a 10 out of 10. Sonic 2 to me is like one of my favorite movies that's come out in a while. But again, I'm biased. There's just we all have those things that brings out the child in our heart, right? We all have that one thing that we've been super attached to that we follow religiously and everything like that. And that for me is Sonic. Some people are um, more lenient towards like Mario. Some people are like Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter, whatever your gaming character is. Even if it wasn't a gaming character, if it was a cartoon whenever you were a kid that you're just attached to that you can still watch, Sonic the Hedgehog is that for me. And I can't say it enough. And I said this in my letterbox review whenever I dropped it, but we as Sonic fans, or the people that are Sonic fans out there, are living in an actual golden era of Sonic content. Sonic has been resuscitated from the grave and revived, and we're just living in a golden era of games with Sonic Frontiers, Sonic Mania, Sonic Origins, stuff like that. It's the best time to be a Sonic fan right now, and this Knuckle TV series is no exception to that equation. So again, an 8.5 out of 10. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about Knuckles if you already watched it. Maybe you're piecing some of the episodes apart and didn't just straight speed run through it like I did, but I couldn't contain my excitement. I had to watch it all. So until next review, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on the next From Screen to Shelf review.